So this is the October episode of BorakBursa, and here today we have a very interesting topic because Halloween, right? Let's talk about death.
Hey, welcome to BorakBursa, where we talk about everything on everyday Malaysian finances. Welcome to our Halloween special episode. Today we have a very special guest. We have AHMAD FEIZAL here to my left. He is actually the Group Managing Director of Amanahraya Berhad, which is the largest trustee in Malaysia. He'll talk more about that, Halloween special. And of course, we have Chak over there, who represents the everyday guy, right? Who was asking everyday questions. So welcome to our podcast.
Hi everybody. Hi AHMAD FEIZAL. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Chak. Thank you, Alvin, for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So, to be honest with you, as the representation of the everyday man, I had not heard of Amanahraya until Alvin actually mentioned it a few months ago when he recommended you for the podcast. And the more research I did, the more interesting it became. Because you guys are older than Malaysia, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Which is how old exactly?
Well, we were set up in 1921, so that makes us about 103 years old.
Wow, you look pretty good for 103.
Yeah.
And what was the why has it been around so long? Not a lot of things have existed since 1921. Our parliament, hasn't been around that long. EPF, we did a recent feature, was around just before Malaysia came about, but even then it's not 1921. So what makes Amanahraya so special that in 1921 it was already necessary, and 103 years later it is still necessary?
Well, if you think about our daily lives, we have things that are nice to have, and if you think about the services that Amanahraya provides, is a must-have, is a basic necessity. This comes from the fact that death is an inevitable fact. So if you imagine 1921, where there's every year there's a lot of passing, and the estates of the deceased, they need to be managed, because suddenly you have a bank account who doesn't have an owner, and so the government had to step in to provide for this void of service, which is to administer the estates of the deceased. So it started off as a government department, and in 1995 we were corporatized. 1995 we were corporatized. Okay. The objective, mainly driven, was to better serve the nation, and until now.
Okay. So AHMAD FEIZAL, what does it mean by corporatized in 1995? Like, what does it mean to?
Well, if you think about the services from the government, maybe some of us can recall LLN, Lembaga Related Negara. It was privatized.
Yeah.
So for the same objective, which is to better serve the nation, to increase your quality of services, hence Amanahraya from a government department was corporatized into a company.
Right.
Amanahraya Berhad. At the same time, a specific act, the Public Trust Corporation Act 1995, was set up specifically for Amanahraya, which gives us the authority to be the sole administrator who can represent the beneficiaries and authorized to represent the beneficiaries in court.
Sorry, going back to that. So I just want to understand, because I've heard about wills before. Someone has told me, okay, maybe you need to think about getting a will, and they've pointed me towards a lawyer. So a lawyer can write up a will for me and execute it as well?
Okay, so there's the will part is the preparation part. You're preparing. A will essentially is a contract to determine your distribution preference.
Okay.
What happens to my assets once I pass on the hand-me-downs, right? So without that, one is subjected to the law. The risks of not having a will is, first, the data of where all your assets are.
Yep.
Because don't forget, you have your assets under BNM,
Yep.
you have your assets under Bursa, you have your assets under the land office, and
MetaMask nowadays,
and Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Right. So the preparation is can be done by lawyers or the. But in terms of the authority to administer the assets, there are only three. There are only three. First is of course Amanahraya. We are authorized to give authority to cash or liquid assets up to 600,000. That means if you passed on and your dad had 200,000, you can come to Amanahraya. We can give a letter, and that bank has to release the funds to whoever that it should be received. So we have the authority. The second one is the small estate distribution unit, which is at the lands office.
Okay.
So they can handle both liquid and illiquid assets up to 5 million, and anything above 5 million is a high court. So there's only three parties that can execute or administer the assets of a deceased.
And based on those amounts, generally most people will fall under Amanahraya lah.
Most people will fall under the land office, because most people's assets would include land or a house,
Property.
But that doesn't mean they cannot come to Amanahraya to for the service.
Yeah.
Because we can administer the entire estate for them. It just means that the power to authorize the distribution of illiquid assets must be obtained from the land office, and we can assist. Let's say if you come to Amanahraya, we chaperone everything for you.
Yeah.
You know, where
Okay.
applicable.
So let's bring it back to a real life scenario, so I can better understand this. Let's say I pass away, right? And I have a will that let's say I wrote with a lawyer. So what happens next after that? Let's say my family knows where it is. Okay, assumedly that's what happens, right? You have a will and you tell them, oh, it's in this safe or whatever. They open the safe, they take out the will. What happens next? Like, okay, police report. We got police report. Okay, and then.
Okay, maybe I can just track back. But if I go back to the rights of a will and how different it is from a normal contract, the will is your own, because the instructions to what happens to the asset is your asset, right? And legally speaking, you don't have to tell anybody.
Okay.
But we do encourage will writers to tell their children or who, so that they know their and they can respect the distribution preference.
Right.
Okay, so when a person dies, the first point of reference is there a will? And if there's no will, then you have to follow the applicable law, which is the Income Distribution Act or the Faraya law.
Yes. And seeing as how, yes, okay, I have a will. Okay, wait, sorry, let me back this up. So actually, if I have a will, I actually don't need to tell my children about it.
Legally speaking, you don't have to. You're not obliged to.
Right. So they can just receive whatever they want to receive, and then they have no right to see the final will.
This is something that we encourage the will writers to conversate the distribution with their children, right?
Okay.
So that it doesn't become a surprise and it doesn't get contested.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for non-Muslims, the will is the ultimate distribution indicator, how it's being divided. Whereas for non-Muslims, if the distribution is somewhat unfair,
In whose eyes?
or not according to Faraid, for example,
Okay.
it can be contested. It can be contested. So hence why we encourage the person who's writing the will to inform the children.
Okay.
For example, in Faraid, the boy gets 2 and the girl gets 1, right?
Okay.
A typical distribution is I want all my children to get equal. So you tell them, so when they pass on, they don't quarrel amongst them. So that's the reason. But there are instances where you have the neglected son, and then somebody approaches him and say, you sign this paper, you get 10,000 more.
Yeah.
And he's thinking like, oh, dad's passed on, and my brother, I don't care about them. So it does happen. And in our history of operations, it does happen about between 10 to plus minus 10%. It does happen.
10%, wow, that's
But that's only for Muslims.
Right,
Because
right.
for non-Muslims, the will is the ultimate
Yeah.
how to divide, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, for a viewer watching this, I'm in my 20s or early 30s, like unlikely I'll die anytime soon, and say I don't have kids or I don't have beneficiaries now. Why do you think it's important for someone like that to start thinking about having a will? Is it that important?
Well, I mean, it all stems from securing a better future for our future generations. It all stems from there.
Yeah.
Right. The benefit is that the assets gets transferred to them in an efficient way. And if you think about leaving behind, what would you leave behind to your loved ones? Are you going to leave behind some problems, or are you going to leave a stream of income? Are you going to give a rainfall, right? So hence why products have developed from a basic will to trust. And because the will is your basic hand-me-down. When I die, take this asset and give it to this guy, right?
Very curious question. Do debts get handed down as well?
Yes.
They do.
Yes.
So meaning to say, if I owe a bank 1 million ringgit, I can write that into my will to say I want, let's say I don't like one of my children, right? This guy gets all my debt, and then this guy gets all my. Is that?
No, I don't think that's.
Does it work that way?
No, debt is a process, because the process before the estates are distributed is net of all debt.
Yeah, so you got to pay off all your debts first.
Okay. So all debts, you can't just assign debt to one guy and assign assets to one guy. That has to all balance the sheets first before the assets are.
Yeah, I mean, if I can explain how it happens for a Muslim, for example.
Yeah.
The first thing that happens is for Muslim we have this product called hibah, right? Where one transfers the asset while he's alive. So a gift.
It's like a gift, right? Hibah is gift, right? Yeah.
So when a person dies, whatever assets that's hibah is taken out. Right?
Yeah.
And the second one is the 1/3 of the wasiat, which is excluded from faraid. For Muslims, we have that privilege.
Yeah.
Say 1/3 of my asset, I don't want it to be treated under faraid law.
Okay.
I have that right. The third is your funeral expenses and liabilities, your credit card bills, your phone bills. Fourth is the distribution of the estate.
Sorry, explain that to me again. Why is it in third and fourth then?
Oh, let's say when you die, you got $100. Let's just say.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So first of all, in your contract somewhere, you hibahkan the $10 to somebody. Okay, take the $10. That's not the estate.
Okay.
Then you take out the 1/3 of the wasiat which you don't want to be counted as faraid. So you want to give 1/3 of your money to your neighbor, for example, right? So 30 ringgit goes to neighbor. So you left 60 ringgit, right?
Yeah.
Then want to give to the children, like got visa, hutang 20 ringgit.
Okay.
And then the funeral guy another $10.
Yeah.
So take out the $10, only then $30 left there. Only you distribute to them.
Right.
So that's what it means, right?
Well, if it's a net negative, then nothing gets distributed, huh?
If it's a net negative, we would. There's a difference between what's how should I say? Rightfully, the heirs must pay the debt. Rightfully.
Oh, rightfully. So by law, the heir has to pay the debt.
I mean, if they want any further claim on any estates that are to come,
And does Amanahraya handle this sort of thing as well? Or?
I mean, debt. I mean, once we've given the asset, the debt is between the debt collector and
Okay,
the,
understood.
right?
So you guys handle the assets but not the debt.
See, whenever we have the assets, right? For example, I'll give you an example, right?
Sorry, I'm annoying like this.
No, it's okay. I understand, right?
That's why he's an average guy, right?
So for example, right? So for example, Amanahraya, we have, let's say for example, we have 50 ringgit, right?
Yeah.
Let's say for example, 50 ringgit. And then when we want to distribute to you, then we get a letter from the tax department saying this guy owes tax 60 ringgit.
Yeah.
So we're obliged to withhold that. Or let's say you have a credit card bill that you have, so we have to pay that, right?
Yeah.
But once we've cleared that person, we've paid you, then suddenly a debt collector comes out. We can't be.
Right.
So,
Oh, okay.
But
whilst
before-
we're processing it, and the debt is there, we definitely cannot give you the money.
Yep.
And this is common, especially for people with a bankruptcy status, right? The assets actually, we have to do it by the law.
Okay.
It's withheld.
So bankrupt. Let's say if I'm bankrupt as well, that needs to be cleared first before any assets can be distributed. That makes perfect sense, actually. Yeah.
Because as a government agent, if you think about the process we go through before any distribution, we have to check with BNM, we have to check with Bursa, then we have to check with KDN, the IC, the linkages, the air, and then before giving out the monies, we have to check whether you have any tax liabilities or whether you're insolvent. Actually, Jabatan Insolvency.
Right.
So we check all those. We have our KYC and all that. Then we give out.
Okay, so I have a very interesting question then. This sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like checking with the various departments to see whether there's any debt or whatever, then managing the estate and all that. How much does it cost to get this service from Amanahraya?
A comprehensive will is 1,200 ringgit,
Okay.
a one-off cost, and it's free custodian lifetime.
Okay.
But of course, if you want to revise your will, there's a will update charges, right?
Okay.
Can you explain to the average person what free custodian lifetime means to them?
Okay, we just launched our app, right, called the My Amanahraya app.
I was going to bring it up later. Okay, I'll bring it up now. Here we go, the app. Okay, go for the app. Yeah, okay.
No, because you're asking like how you get a will, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a Halloween special now, right? So it's great we talk about death and wills, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, once you've installed the app allows you to find an agent, a nearby agent, to assist you in providing and writing your will.
Yeah.
And after discussing with you what are your preferences regarding will distribution, that information gets sent to our back office where we have a bunch of will writers. We have about slightly more than 20 will writers crafting the will. But the agent is gonna chaperone all this, right?
Okay.
Gonna go back and forth to the office, and until you're happy with your will, under the law, we have to keep a physical copy of the will
Okay.
for you in a hidden place.
Okay.
So that's what we mean by free custodian lifetime.
Okay.
In a way, it's a cybersecurity proof, because anybody want to change digitally, I got your hard copy.
Oh, right.
So
Back up.
it's still a hard copy,
The will, yes, it's a hard
Okay.
copy.
It's not like a Google Drive or something, or
No, but of course, the data are digitally.
Yeah.
But we still keep a hard copy
Right.
with a wet ink signature.
yes.
And the agent will do all that,
Right.
right? And the benefit is you will be able to access your will on the app, right? And I'm kind of excited to say that with the app, people can earn income by becoming an agent as well. By becoming an agent as well.
So I mean, just curious, right? Is there a difference between, I mean, since we talk about, just now you mentioned about Muslims and non-Muslims. So what would you say would be the main difference between how a Muslim would handle its will or trust or after death versus a non-Muslim? What would you say the main difference is?
Okay. So if for a non-Muslim, the will is the final say in terms of how their assets are distributed.
So which means it's free form. You can,
Yes,
let's
I can
say,
say give half of my assets to my neighbor.
right,
I can,
right.
right? So, but for a Muslim, there's the Farad law which comes into play. But of course, the will is the first point of reference.
Okay.
But if there's elements of unfairness, Farad trumps, right? So when there's a will, the will is the first point of reference. The big difference happens when there's no will. So the Farad application actually has consequences into the preparation. Why? Because in terms of planning, has its consequences on the preparation as well.
Right.
So hence why you have the hibah product, which is applicable for Muslims, to gift a certain asset while they're alive, so
Yeah.
that it doesn't get treated under the Farad
Right,
distribution.
right.
So those are the main difference.
And
Okay.
do you guys have like rough statistics about how many Malaysians actually have wills? Like,
Yes.
it's a very small percentage, or is it? I would imagine it's small,
It is.
right?
It is. At the moment, only 5%
Oh dear.
of the population has a will, which is about 1.5 million people. Which is, if you ask me how good it is it good or bad? It's really bad. It's really bad. It's really bad.
Okay.
It's really bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Because as a developed nation,
Yeah.
we should be looking at 20%.
Okay.
We should be looking at 20%. So that's why I was saying to Alvin earlier. It goes hand in hand with financial literacy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And an advancement in financial literacy would beg someone to think about what
Yeah.
happens to my assets
Yep.
after I die. I mean, even in any good advocacy preparation for your estate, one should ask whether all my assets have they been arranged for.
Yeah.
Have all my assets been arranged for?
Yeah.
What happens to them?
Yeah. And how do we compare to our neighbors? Would you happen to know?
It is a huge variance between the nearby neighbors and the more advanced neighbors. For example,
Singapore, unfortunately.
yeah, Singapore,
Yeah, we have to bring them
Hong
up.
Kong. These are places where will is considered
Normal.
I wouldn't say it's too harsh if we categorize it a bit archaic.
Yep.
If you say will is a bit archaic.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah, for Honkies, it's archaic because will is a one-way hand-me-down, right?
Right.
So if I had a lot of houses, a lot of assets, right, and if I said, I give this house to this my son, what are the chances they're gonna sell it and go party all night? Quite a high chance, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, these are practical issues.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
These are practical issues that drive people to set up an estate.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my sons to sell everything and then, so the estate, the trust setup ensures the hand-me-downs in a more structured manner and in a more independent manner.
So I know one thing that's very popular, like in Hong Kong, is trust lah. Do you want to go? You want to talk about that? You want to go into the topic?
We have actually a difference between wills and trusts here.
Correct.
Yeah. But I feel like we're jumping around a little bit. We were talking just now about the low.
The 5%.
Yeah, 5% of Malaysians actually have any sort of estate planning, right? We're not even talking about wills, trusts, or whatever.
Well,
right?
that's the indication from the number of wills that we know.
Yeah.
But of course, there's plenty of trusts out there. But gauging by the number of wills, we can guess that the number of trusts is even lower.
Yeah. And how bad is it to not have a will?
Well, first of all, it's the hassle in collecting all the information.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, countries, some countries, they have this thing called the Central Asset Registry Unit.
Yeah.
Central Asset Registry. So let's say if I pass on, if I go to this place called Central Asset Registry, it can tell me where's my money, which bank account,
Yeah.
how many shares I own, which house I have, where's my land and everything. At one place, which we don't have here,
Yeah.
right? So
I mean, CTOS is probably the closest thing, like.
no, CITO just gives you an indication about your credit, right?
Yeah.
When they say money, is BNM.
Yeah.
Your shares,
CTOS
Bursa.
got shares.
No, the owners of the custodian.
Oh,
of
sorry,
your,
no, it's only company ownership, not shares.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the custodian of the assets,
Correct,
right?
correct.
Yeah. so that's why managing estates is important, and that's why 5% is a low figure. Okay, so we ask ourselves, why do we even give two rules, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because assets which are not properly, how should I say, aired or transferred,
Yeah.
gets stuck in the economy and doesn't.
Yeah, what
It-
happens to it? Let's say, okay, I have a house, right? I didn't write a will, and what happens to the house?
Okay, so you didn't write a will. Rather than the process taking 2 or 3 months, it takes 2 years or 3 years, for example.
Okay.
I'll come back to that, how it can become 2 or 3 years in a bit. You know? But let's say it takes 2 or 3 years. That house just sits there. It's not owned by anybody.
Yep.
You can't rent it out.
Non-performing asset.
You can't collateralize it, take a loan. So
Yeah.
you see how it doesn't benefit
The
anyone.
economy.
In fact, it's a negative thing
Yeah,
for the economy.
it doesn't
because
benefit. It like takes the asset.
It takes the asset out from the economic multiplier.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So so why it would take 2 or 3 years? Because, and what does it mean? If you have any children, your children will get the assets. If you didn't have any children, your siblings, your parents, your grandparents, right? And let's say some of them think that, okay, due to convenience, let's just waive off the house and give it to your daughter because she's staying
Okay.
there. Well, but let's say there's one auntie or one uncle. I don't want.
Has to be auntie.
Oh, I don't want.
Or girlfriend, girlfriend.
I don't want that 1/16 of the title of the house.
I know this person. Yeah.
That 1/16 title of the house is my right.
Right.
And want to exercise it. So because of that 1/16 right, you have to go to court.
Yeah.
You have to go to court. So these are the issues, right? So
And that can tie it up even longer than this non-performing asset continues not to perform for decades even if you can't resolve it.
So if you look at the consequences of the low, penetration rate, right? So the monies that are, you can say, in transaction with us is about 1 to 2 billion.
Okay.
1 to 2 billion is probably not a lot, but the monies in the unclaimed monies, right?
How much is that?
That's about 12 billion at the moment.
12 billion.
12 billion.
Unclaimed monies.
Monies, right? But don't forget. Okay, this probably I should.
12 billion in cash.
Cash, right?
Not even talking about assets now.
It's liquid. 12 billion, but that belongs to the accountant general. Okay,
Right.
This is a myth which I should demystify here.
Yeah.
The unclaimed monies are handled by the accountant general.
Okay.
Accountant general.
Oh, not by Amanahraya.
No, because
Alright.
because all the assets with Amanahraya are all cleaned. Cleaned by who? By the deceased.
Right.
Right.
These are unclaimed.
Right.
So the unclaimed monies, this 12 billion, there are monies that belong to the dead and monies belonging to the living.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So the monies belonging to the dead, that's Amanahraya's radar.
Okay.
Right.
So let's just say, out of the 12 billion, let's just say 4 billion belonging to the dead.
Yeah.
So 1 billion with me,
Yeah.
which is stuck because of I couldn't find the beneficiary, or they're fighting over the land value or whatever.
Yeah.
Dispute, right?
Yeah.
Dispute lah.
And I got this other 4 billion in the unclaimed monies. And then there's the land office. Land dispute, how much do you think that is?
Let me guess. 50 billion.
You're about right.
50 billion.
Well, it's a bit more because if we add all of it, the land,
Yeah.
the unclaimed monies,
Yeah.
the monies with us is about 78 billion.
Wow.
Monies that could have gone into the economy if we were to plan things a bit better,
Right.
or if we were to be a bit more chill.
And this keeps growing all the
This keeps
time.
growing, this keeps growing. I tell you why. Because when you don't have a will, suddenly when the person is like, tak apa, this, okay, no problem. When I cincai lah. When the person, that TV is actually mine, I'm serious, this
I think I
happens.
know this person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That TV actually mine, but never mind lah. I don't want to say anything, but that TV mine, And then 10 years later, dia kata, that guy, I know. You see, when he died, TV I give it, never say anything. One.
So hypothetically, let's say, if person A dies and he wills it to person B, but before it can be transferred, person B dies also, and person B leaves no will. So that would be unclaimed monies lah.
No. If I go back to when you said that this sounds like a lot of work.
Yes.
It is,
Yeah.
it is. And that's why we feel that this work needs to be specialized.
Yeah.
Needs to be specialized into a department. And we've done it for 100 years, right? So we've seen many types of cases. We've seen whereby the estate should have gone to this guy, but this guy passes on. So that's what we call double estate situation.
Double estate situation. Wow.
Double estate situation, right?
That's,
That means if let's say if you pass on, your daughter's supposed to get something, right? And then she passes on. So whatever she's supposed to get under the law will be passed down
yeah.
according to the law.
Right.
Called double estate.
Right. And
Like-
if let's say the person B does not have a will or estate or any living
According to
heirs,
the law.
all right, okay.
The hand-me-downs has to happen. It's whether you have a will or you have to go by the law.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
So technically, if the monies are unclaimed, and if it's, let's say 50, 70 billion, it's quite
70
a
billion,
substantial
Assets.
and it gets unclaimed, let's say for the next 30 years, say
No,
for
the
example.
50 billion with the land office is claimed.
Claimed.
Process.
Oh, in process,
The
right?
unclaimed is still 12B.
12 billion,
But these are in process, right?
Yeah.
We have 1B, but land values tend to be higher, so they're about 50 billion there.
And then if the process takes too long, another one dies, then does it get reset again or?
No, it becomes a double estate.
Double
case.
estate.
It becomes a double estate case, and that's why, and hence, why we at Amanahraya are so passionate about this.
Yeah.
Because of the problems that because of the consequences.
Yes.
Because of the consequences of this
Yeah.
To individuals and to the greater economy.
to the greater economy.
Yeah. I never realized that before. It never occurred to me that these non-performing, assets and liquidity could actually be used to, create jobs or.
So if you look at it, the challenges are quite all round, right?
It's a multiplier effect, like you said.
But the low-hanging fruit is from the indication that only 5% of people have a will in Malaysia.
Yeah.
So that's the low-hanging fruit. We need to increase the awareness big time.
Yeah.
We need to increase the awareness big time. We have 20 branches in Malaysia. We're aware about the strength of digital media, hence why we're here. We've launched our app. We intend to penetrate to all the rural areas, creating a gig economy to help us viral this. My plan, if I put it in short, I want the whole of Malaysia to work for Amanahraya.
Yeah.
I pay them.
Yeah.
I pay them what? You sell 20 wheel, you get 300 times 20. 6,000 bucks. That's not too
Alright.
shabby, eh?
Yeah.
You sell 10 hibah, it's 5,000 ringgit
Wow.
per month. Not too shabby, right?
Yeah.
And it's great for the economy because a single wheel like this, we're talking about, let's say, a few thousand ringgit in the transactional cost, that frees up potentially a few million ringgit in non-performing assets that,
If you think about the absolute amount, it's about 78 billion. But when you look at the economic multiplier, 5 times or 10 times, the potential is significant.
It's very significant.
And I think the awareness about these issues are not so apparent to your day-to-day man down on the street.
They weren't apparent to me about 30 minutes ago, so there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought to me it's more like a personal responsibility, but I think that the mind-blowing thing here is actually the economic impact of it. So now I can see, going back to what you said earlier, why this was started in 1921, because this is a national need. This is national service in a way. You should execute some sort of estate planning.
Yeah, I mean, if to give some sense of idea, if I told you just now the assets which are stuck, it's about 78 billion. How much do you think assets gets passed on every year? On the
Ooh, interesting.
It's about
know.
6 billion. It's about
How much?
6
billion.
6 billion, right?
6 billion, okay.
So we've been on for 100 years. That means asset that has gone through the cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say 6 billion every year. It would
Yeah.
have been 3. So let's say 400 billion.
Yeah.
So, so out of 400 billion, only like 1 billion is stuck with Amanahraya.
Right.
So when you look at it in that context, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But when you say 1 billion, when you put it like 500 million or 800 million, it looks like, wow, Amanahraya. So that's where the perception comes from.
Okay.
That the Amanahraya is like hoarding all these
Right,
assets.
right.
We're not. We want to distribute it fairly according to the law. And it provides that as long as the beneficiaries do not agree on certain things, the case cannot be closed.
Right.
We've got cases going back as far as 1970s. Because first of all, there's a few brothers and sisters who couldn't agree on something,
Wow.
and they passed on. So then
This is what I'm talking about.
so that
yeah.
Baba
their,
estate
so that
lah.
their one sister's voice became 2 or 3 anak voice.
Yeah.
And then one of the anak voice died, then became the 2 or 3 cucu voice. Then the case becomes until now.
1970s.
Wow.
So, it's been stuck for 40, 50 years.
Yes.
Are you guys allowed to do anything with this amount of money, or?
There are avenues, but unfortunately the law is very clear when it comes to fair distribution agreement amongst the beneficiaries. The strongest weapon or decision that can be done is all beneficiaries agree on something.
Yeah.
That's why you see the estate case are handled very, very quickly.
Okay.
Let's say I want to do something which sounds really odd, but if all beneficiaries agree, halas. Yalla.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
It's done.
No, actually, that's not what I was talking about. So, say for instance, with regards to, let's say, our managed fund, let's do some product placement. We have a managed fund called Snowball, and when the money is not in the equities market, it's in the money market, earning sort of a passive income kind of thing. Is Amanahraya allowed to do something like that as well?
We do. I mean, in because will as a basic form of Hamida, we also have our trust products, right? As I mentioned, trust covers both dimensions, the living and the dead.
Okay.
So let's say you have a lot of assets, and you want these assets to be managed properly and hand down. So you give those assets to us.
Right.
We can invest them in high yielding financial instruments.
Right.
because Amanahraya, don't forget, we have 3 subsidiaries. We have Amanahraya Investment Management, which is a licensed asset management company under SC.
Ah, okay.
So they have your usual dynamic funds, Global Flex 1, Global Flex 2. They have all these funds. We take care of sophisticated investors and corporates. We have our Amanahraya REIT,
Okay.
right?
Real estate.
Real estate, and then we have our corporate trustee,
Okay.
which we are the main trustees for, most of the funds you see out there.
Yeah, in fact, we are a customer of your corporate trustees. Right?
Ah,
Yeah.
good. Okay. You can be rest assured. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, let's go a little bit deeper into the difference between a will and a trust. So in the simplest terms, trusts can take effect while you're still living,
Yes.
and wills take effect only after death.
That's right. Yeah.
Is there any other main difference between these things?
Well, if you like, will is like a one-way street direction.
Okay.
Trust is like a whole set of instructions: what to do while I'm alive, what to do when I'm dead,
Yeah.
who to give the money to,
Where to put the money in the meantime?
only give to his son if he studies in UK. Yeah.
Wait,
I'm
but
serious.
can wills do that too?
Yes.
Okay, so wills can do that as well.
Also, it's like conditional.
Those would be what I call I'll say those are miser wills, I call it.
Okay.
That means you're so stingy, you don't want to go for a trust.
Yeah.
You go for a heavily instructed will.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I know this person also. Yeah.
Heavily instructed will.
Right.
But the instruction can only be one time. The
Okay.
difference between a will and trust, let's say, a will will say, give this bank account to my son only if he studies in UK. Okay, one time. A
Right.
trust will say, give this bank account monthly allowance 10,000 as long as
He studies in the UK.
so continuous money, give money.
That's a trust, is
That's a
it?
trust. That's a
Okay, trust. Okay.
Continuous instruction.
Okay.
Continuous set of instructions under the trust deed.
Right.
Under the trust deed.
So it's like programming your money
Yes.
after you die, lah,
Yes.
or while you're alive, lah. That's
Yes,
that's
yes.
what a trust can do, lah.
Trust both while you're alive and while you're dead.
So I'm very curious. Who is the person then that checks whether this person is still studying in the UK?
The trustee, the appointed trustee, which is Amanahraya.
But what if the condition is so ridiculous, like that it's beyond your?
I would just give an example.
Yeah.
But of course, the instructions that we receive are
Yeah.
instructions that we feel we can feasibly do.
Okay.
Because in the past, there were instructions. I mean, no, this is serious. I mean,
Yeah,
in
we
the
love to
past-
hear your war stories.
No, in the past, we have received trustees where we were supposed to pay electric bills and water bills for this beneficiary.
Right.
And then my guy tells me now they can't fulfill their job. Why? Because the house now is tenanted by another person, and there's this dog in front of it. They can't go in to check to take the TNB bill. So I told them, TNB bill now you check online now. Why?
Check online, yeah.
So I mean, just give these are some of the things we won't check anymore.
Right.
These are because last time, if you imagine, I wanted to create a trust for my son who is sick and can't take care of himself, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the trustee has to pay electric bill and everything.
Sure.
So last time we used to take that instruction, but I think now we are a bit more modern days, like
Yeah.
somebody to pay bills, we just pay the guardian, and guardian,
And also, like the cost of doing all this seems like it will be quite high, like, there's a lot of work involved, right? So
Well, trustees' fees are normally a percentage of the size of the assets that we manage. Right?
okay.
So in most trusts, let's say before, I mean, as we manage the trust, of course we take our fees.
Yeah. It seems like they're due. I mean, if you have to, bypass a dog to
It seems like a lot, but common trust setups are, for charity purposes, for example, and for Muslims especially, we believe that charity to mosque is something that can aid us in the afterlife, right? So you have a setup where you have the principal, and the I keeps perpetually. So the I goes to charity and pays a trustee fee,
Right.
and then touches the P,
Right.
and it goes on and on perpetually.
Right.
So there are these type of setups, right?
Okay. Sorry, you wanted to ask?
Yeah. Just wanted to come back to the topic of a highly programmable or highly a will with a lot of instructions.
Trust setup. Yeah.
So if let's say I'm trying to save money on a trust while I'm alive, I know I've heard of this before, but can I send in my will that all the money after I die or whatever assets gets transferred into a trust? So therefore, while I'm alive, I don't technically have to pay any custodian
I
fee.
think you're in luck, Alvin. You're asking this question at the right time. At the right time.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you've heard of the SFO that was launched, which is a single family office in Forest City.
Yeah.
So your question has come at the right time. If you have a certain amount of assets which you know that it belongs to like a family trust setup,
Yeah.
we can help you to set up that trust family setup, but it has to be in the designated
In
area,
Johor.
which is in Johor.
Oh, right.
Of course, there's certain conditions, right?
Yeah. I think it was like 30 mil or something more than.
It's first of all, it's being there. The operation has to be there,
Okay.
and of course, you have to spend.
Yeah.
It's about 500,000.
Okay.
To spend
Yeah.
there. So the decision point is that if you think your tax incurred
Yeah.
on your estate is more than $500,000, it's worthwhile.
Right. Okay. Oh.
That rules me out.
Something to consider, right?
No, but actually, just now on the same topic of the things that you execute and the things that you don't, and we gave some really strange examples, having to run past a dog and pay an electricity bill and all that. Can you give me an example of something that you would execute and something that you would not execute?
Usually, cash distributions. I mean,
Yeah.
like monthly allowances to
Right.
to minors
Okay.
or guardians. Yeah.
Easy. Yeah.
Oh, that's something you will
But
do
the
or won't do?
conditional ones, like like saying like if he like, are people allowed to do that? Like within your structure to say, okay, if he, let's say, has my ashes in his house, then I will continue to pay him, every year. Say for something like that. I mean, like that means
Yeah.
somebody from Amanahraya has to go to this guy's house and then check whether the ashes are still there. Like, is that even? I'm just trying to see where the limit is here.
Within reason.
Within reason, lah.
reason.
And you would charge for it, lah. You would say,
Yes,
if
yeah.
5 trips, that's my Grab fees.
Yes.
to
I think within
That's so
reason
interesting.
because our ultimate aim is to ensure the distribution takes place,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And of course, if we feel that this is something that is very hard for us to do, we won't do it. Like
Right. So
Like,
there
like
are things that you would say
paying
no.
bills, we won't do it anymore. you
Okay,
know?
yeah. Makes sense. Total sense.
So Faisal, can I say, right, that like why would I choose Amanahraya over XYZ or ABC trustee? Is that from what I understand, Amanahraya has its own act, right, in Parliament. You guys have your own act, pretty much. I think the only corporate that has its own act. Can I? Am I right to say that I would go with Amanahraya because you guys have been around for 100 years, therefore you should be around for the next 100 years. Would that be fair to say?
There'll be a comfort factor, yeah. Because if you like, if I appoint somebody to manage my estate, how sure are you that this guy will be around when I want it? I mean,
Yep.
if I appoint my friend,
Yeah.
we're same age, right? So Amanahraya is the government, so there's that comfort there.
Right.
You're right. And the other reason why you should feel come to Amanahraya, if when I explain the part about the planning
Yep.
and then the estate administration,
Yep.
not many people can do
Both.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we are one-stop center. We're on the planning, on the administering. We can do trust for you.
Right.
So we are one-stop center. But our biggest advantage is that we are one-stop center because we write the will and we administer. We have the authority
Yeah.
to administer for you. And there's one unique thing which I forgot to mention. Amanahraya is the only other person who can represent the beneficiaries.
Mm.
No lawyer can represent
Yep.
the beneficiaries. No accountant, no company, nobody. Only Amanahraya.
Because it's in the act, is it?
Let's say amongst the beneficiaries, let's say there's 5 siblings, right? They can't come to an agreement. They can appoint Amanahraya as the 6th independent person
Yep.
to
Administer.
independently.
Right.
And we will ensure that it's first distributed according to the will, if there's a will. If there's no will, we ensure it's distributed according to the law. So that's, I think, if I were to look, that's why I would go to Amanahraya. Because if I go to other companies, I do the will here, then I have to go to somewhere else. It's just
I think also that maybe we're trying to bust the myth or misconception is that and maybe I'm speaking for myself when I when I looked at first Amanahraya, I was talking to Chuck. I think there's a lot of confusion. I was speaking to other people. They're like, they thought Amanahraya was Amanah Saham, and you guys were related companies or sister companies. And because of the word Amanah, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the second buzz or misconception was that Amanahraya is only for Muslims or for Bumis only. Is that true, or you also have non-Muslim customers?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not true because when the government set us up in 1921 was for all Malaysians who had this issue about what to do when about the assets of somebody when they die. The issue about the confusion is the common use of the word amanah. Amanah means trust. So, like Amanah Saham National, Amanah Saham Bumi Putra, these are trust funds.
Yeah.
Whereas we are trustees. So
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
that's where the confusion lies.
Yeah.
But I feel that over time, when we gear up our activities in increasing awareness, I think we will see the fruits of it, because I think Amanahraya has yet to reap the benefits of technology. We've started to go all out on media for the last 2 years. I think we just have to persevere.
Yeah.
We have to persevere.
Okay. Bring me through the process now. Let's try and make this accessible for everybody. I'm starting from zero. I have no idea how to distribute my funds. I just know that I have to. Based on everything that you've told me, it's an absolute need. It's a national service for me to actually plan my estate. How do I start?
Well, you can start by downloading our My Amanahraya app. Okay, this app is really simple stuff. Just
QR code is here, guys. So scan that to download. It'll be somewhere here, I think. Here.
download. Okay.
Yeah.
Then my first advice is to seek an agent by clicking on that you want to do a will, and speak to an agent first. That will be the first thing I would advise, because once you speak to an agent, he will be able to tell you some of the things that we should be thinking about that we don't think about every day.
Such as?
What's your SOXO number? What's your EPF number? Who gets your EPF money when you die? Did you remember?
That one I have, yes.
Okay.
That's the one thing I have.
Another thing that I mean, now that you have it, maybe we should think about it, because before I got married, the EPF the penama
Nominee.
was my mom,
Yep.
right? So when you marry, you change it to your wife, right?
Yep.
Is it?
I mean,
Just joking.
We'll leave it up to Alvin whether he wants to cut that part from the final recording.
Yes, you leave it to your wife.
so this is the part where I mentioned the monies or the assets that goes passes from deceased people every year is about 6 billion. These are some of the assets that can get leaked. Why? Because if the EPF money goes down to the nominee, he is supposed to distribute it according to the will,
Right.
or to the faraid. And when he doesn't, the money doesn't go into the system. Right?
Right.
Right? So that's why it's becoming a trend now that in the EPF, the nominee, you put Amanahraya there.
Right.
There's about 60,000 people who have put Amanahraya there. So that's how you start. Download the app, talk to an agent, and complete your will. That's my advice. Complete your will, then it will get you start thinking about whether you need a trust or something.
So just to back it up, so when you talk to an agent, they're in a consultative mode. You don't get charged anything yet until, okay, I want to write my will, and then they'll charge you a fee.
Until you're happy with the will.
Until you're happy with the will.
Success basis. Yeah.
Okay, and this is done virtually or face-to-face?
Up to you, because the agent can call you,
Okay,
and it will be an agent near you,
okay.
so you can choose to meet.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want to meet, also fine.
Sure.
And is this like a one meeting kind of thing, or is it like several meetings?
It's up to
or?
you. I mean, the agent essentially it's like your insurance agent, right?
Okay.
He will do whatever it takes to get a will and get a commission.
But
Yeah.
does he charge more based on the complexity or less? It's a standard fee.
Fixed rate.
It's a
The
flat
will,
fee.
I can see the agent 10 times more, but will I pay 1,200?
Right.
Okay. Okay. And so, why would someone then go to a lawyer if they can just do this via the app?
Honestly speaking,
Yeah.
I feel that because they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know that there's such a service that's offered by Amanahraya.
That's definitely my where I'm coming from.
That's
because-
exactly why I guess why we're doing this as well in a way, right?
Because to me, it's like, oh, will lawyer. I need to go to talk to a
Yeah.
lawyer and write it out and stuff like that.
So when you think about it, I think it's you're right to think of to be worried when you think about it. But when you leave it to Amanahraya, for example, because we've done it for 100 years,
Yeah.
so we try our best to make it seamless for the people.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
So we make it on the phone, and we make it the agent anywhere can help you, and we try to simplify what the will is intended to do. Basically,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We
yeah.
simplify.
yeah. And then, like, when I want to update the will, then
You can do it anytime.
go back to the agents.
Yeah, you can call the agent. Yeah.
But how do is there some sort of like basic training that all agents must go through
Yes,
with you
yes.
guys, like so that they
Yes.
are
So to make
People
it
advise.
seamless, there'll be a training which is online.
Okay. right?
And I think there's one or two more checks and then that guy can become an agent. But our idea is to make it easy,
Right.
Like how easy it is to become a Grab rider,
Right,
for example.
Okay.
Yeah,
For example.
yeah.
But
But
will-
of course, when they become agents for trust, it becomes a bit more. We need to give more courses, maybe.
Right, right,
But
right.
for will, it's quite easy.
Yeah.
Straightforward lah. So it also because the reason why I'm asking is I guess different agents would have different levels of experience. Do you guys have like a 5-star rating on agents? I'm just curious. I don't know.
If I go back to our how should I say challenges I'm getting was awareness, right? And when I joined, I mean, don't forget Amanahraya has been around for 100 years, so we've tried a lot of things,
Yeah.
sales strategies,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
and we've had agents before this, and we didn't have agents. And then I asked why did it fail? So apparently, when you put too many conditions for the agents, they tend to be disloyal. I mean, agency will work for the commission,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Of course.
So my philosophy is, don't be too hard on the loyalty, because loyalty is dictated by how many sales you make, right?
Yeah.
Not by how many times you come to my house and say I'm a good,
Yeah.
So we kept everything a bit laxed to encourage sales, and we give high commission to ensure that you can do whatever you want. You can sleep or whatever. No sale, no commission.
Yeah.
Sale, commission. That's it.
Yeah.
And our commission, we have made it as competitive as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. So are you seeing an increased take-up based on this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
that's
but
good.
we just launched that about 2 months ago.
Okay. No, that's very
So
positive.
we're monitoring the increasing number of agents and the number of traffic that's occurring through the app.
Yeah.
So if the viewers who are watching this and they want to become an agent, what do they have to do? How do they?
In the app we have two versions. The white one is for the customers,
Right.
and the blue one is for the agent.
I see.
So they just have to. Actually, if you download the white one, there'll be a question which will prompt you: do you want to become an agent?
Ah, right. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's quite seamless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long is the process, the training process, if you want to become an agent? Like
It's online, like
a few months.
No, 1 day. The training is like a 1 2
Oh, that's a
hours.
pretty short process.
Yeah.
This sounds more lucrative than Grab.
If I can describe in a sentence, how difficult it is to become agent, how difficult it is to become a Grab rider.
Right.
Same, yeah.
Okay.
You just say I want to become agent. Okay, then you attend an online course, maybe with 10 other agents, online
Right.
course. Then go to the branch and show this I'm a human being, I'm not a robot. Okay, and then
So basically, the Amanahraya itself, you'll be full-time employees who are actually doing the will writing, right?
Yes.
I see.
Of
Okay,
course
not
we
the
have-
agents lah.
We have full-time employees, and of course within our staff we have commission internally as well. Because
right.
we encourage our employees to
Yeah.
viral that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So the agent is basically just a chaperone through the process. Say,
Yeah.
okay, now you do this, now you do this, now you do this.
The
They're not
agent,
legally empowered to do actually.
the agent is essentially, his ultimate task is to ensure closure.
Okay.
It's to ensure, because the app is such a way that you can sing song whatever he does, you can get this guy to convert whatever. As long as he doesn't sign the will, you don't get commission. That's it. That's it. It's
So-
done as such, right?
Okay, so that's. I mean, we're way over time right now. Everyone's been flashing us like time cards already.
So
Aye. Okay, so we're way over time now. Everyone's been flashing their time cards. So I thought a good way of rounding this out is like, okay, is it? I'm trying to fundamentally understand how Amanahraya works. Your goal is to finalize someone's accounts in the most final way possible, right?
Finalize the distribution.
Finalize the distribution. Is there a point at which, like, okay, everything has been distributed, I close this?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So over the years, of course, we have files which have been closed and files which are processed, right? So over the years, we've closed about assets worth about 22 billion.
Okay.
Assets have been fully transferred.
Yeah.
But I'd like to end that also, because if we say our main objective is to ensure fair distribution, it sounds only for the dead. But there's also for the living where we do our trust setup.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do you want to wrap it up then?
Yeah, no, I think. You want me to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all we have time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I can wrap up with another USP. Is it okay?
Sure, of course.
Yeah. So I'll just wrap up and say that we are the only body who can independently represent the beneficiary to provide independence, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, authority to represent you in court, that to provide convenience. So we're the only authority who can do that, independence and convenience.
And this is in the law, right? Like you said.
Yeah.
Under the Act.
Under the Act, right?
And represent beneficiaries as well, I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's all the time we have for today's Halloween special. I hope you guys enjoyed to this month's podcast. I very insightful for me.
Mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing, right? Talking about death, right? And money. And of course, like to a very special thank you to Encik Faizal here, who, out of his busy schedule, he's a group MD of Amanahraya. So they're a very large organization. To have him here on our podcast, we are very thankful for you to be here. Hopefully we can call on you next time if you have any
no worries,
questions that we may have, right, from the audience, and we can get you back again.
I'll be happy to.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chak.
Thank you, and bye-bye.